A Baker's Inn 7-ton truck has rammed right through the home of Simon Mambazo Phiri. Mambazo, as he is popularly known, is the executive director and producer of Bulawayo Arts Awards, BAA. The house belongs to Mambazo's parents. Simon Mambazo grew up playing on the dusty streets in front of the house. The driver lost control after passing Mazai River, which separates Makokoba and Zilegazi suburbs. The 7-ton truck, seemingly flying at top speed, jumped over the concrete barrier onto the oncoming traffic lane from Zilegazi, flew over a trench, hit a brick perimeter fence and rammed right through the concrete wall to lodge itself onto the bathroom next to the bedroom belonging to Mambazo's parents. Mambazo's mother had just been in the bathroom. By the grace of God, no one inside the house was injured. It is the driver of the 7-ton truck who hurt his legs and was trapped before the rescue team from Bulawayo Fire and Ambulance managed to untangle him. There were other 2 occupants, a man and a woman, who escaped with minor injuries. What is of serious concern is that the police, who were the first to arrive on the scene, numbering around 20, were more concerned of dislodging the huge truck before assessing the damage of the entire house. Worse still, the police had not spoken to Kulu Phiri, aged 83, and Gogo Phiri, aged 75. The elderly couple were not checked by the ambulance crew to ascertain their physical and emotional conditions until Thando Phiri requested for that. Mrs. Thando Phiri, Mambazo's wife, narrates that a scuffle nearly ensued when the police were insisting on dislodging the truck without assessing the extent of the damage to the house. The impact shattered the window panes of the adjacent rooms. When Zim GBC News attempted to make a follow-up with Baker's Inn management at Leonard Bread, located at 22 Bellevue Road, Belmont, Bulawayo, the news crew was chased away for allegedly trespassing. Phone calls to Baker's Inn headquarters in Harare were not answered through their toll-free line. It is worrisome that the police would want to quickly assist to dislodge the truck with the aid of the rescue team without assessing the damage of the house and examining the occupants, let alone talk to them. The assessment that Mambazo needed was, would the house stand if the truck was dislodged? Why were the attending police, together with Baker's Inn crew who had arrived at the scene, keen on dislodging the truck in the middle of the night? Who had called the Baker's Inn crew anyway? Why was the Baker's Inn management evading our questions? Seemingly, onlookers were being stopped from taking photos and or videos by the police. Maybe Baker's Inn management did not want their branded vehicle to be circulated on social media in condition it was, to avoid bad publicity.
We are here at Simon Mambazo Phiri's home. We are here to inquire about the accident that happened. We are with Mrs. Thando Phiri. She will enlighten us.
So we got the call at around something to 12 midnight on Saturday, spilling over to Sunday. So when we got here, we obviously found Mama visibly shaken and she was still crying, and she was sat outside by the kitchen. When you're sat by the kitchen, you're actually facing like the bulk of where this happened. So if I were to illustrate to you, the car was almost inside. So the driver was still trapped when we got here. But according to my understanding, the accident just happened just about after 10. So he was still trapped at midnight when we got here. And Masa was sat, I don't know if you can see, she was sat there by the door facing him, because she said she was now worried about him. Passes out or actually ends up passing on. So she said she kept talking to him and he kept apologizing and saying he's sorry, so which meant he could still realize what was going on, but he was crying about his legs, saying they're trapped.
Okay. I noticed some glasses on the floor. Was anybody in the house, right, besides the driver?
In the house there was no one who was physically hurt, because lucky enough this is a bedroom. So as you can see, there was part of the impact that happened there, and the glasses were actually on the bed, so they actually flew. You can imagine things are going at high speed and whatnot. So there was glasses on the bed. So if there was someone sleeping on that bed in particular, actually they would have been hurt in the house, but there was no.
I actually noticed that your sink has been damaged. So besides the wall and actually the wall, the actual wall, what other property was damaged?
There's the bathtub, there's actually a toilet there. If you can see, there's a shower, that's all. We're not too sure about what's going on up there, but as you can see, the ceiling is damaged. There's a geyser up there. We don't know the state of anything.
So talking about Baker's Inn now,
Yeah.
are you planning on taking any legal action against them?
As a family, we're still talking, but what actually transpired on the day of the accident is I feel we were only taken notice of after my husband had to shout at people, because when we got here they were more concerned about the driver, which is very understandable. He was trapped, no one knew the state of his legs, so it was okay. And then the other passengers that were in there had already been put in the ambulance when we got here. So my husband was actually kind of assisting there, because obviously you take ownership, it's your house, you can't get there and just wait. So if there's a little light that's needed, just the little things, because the fire brigade was also here. But when the driver had been moved out now, they were trying to then move the truck. That's when my husband actually got very mad, because it was like, how can you move the truck when you haven't even assessed how the building is? What if you move the truck and actually now the structure falls, because as it seems now, the car is actually replacing the wall, because it was literally lodged into the wall, so it was bearing some of the load of the structure. So then that's when now it was like, oh, we didn't notice, we'd heard that there wasn't anyone that was hurt inside. So I was actually quite shocked that they would get here and actually not even talk to Abadala, or even talk to us, because we'd now gotten here as soon as we'd heard. You talk to someone, something has happened to your house, to your wall. We are outside trying to do this, but that wasn't done. I feel like proper due diligence wasn't done in terms of communicating with abantu abasendlini, because even when they were trying to pull the car, there was no one inside the yard. Although they had access, there was no one inside the yard to actually check what was happening. So when they were actually pulling, I was inside with my mother-in-law, and when they pulled the car, that's when this actually fell. So this was the problem. When they moved the car, that's when this fell. So yeah, so you can imagine.
You keep saying they. Who is they? Is they Baker's Inn, or is Akamu to be specific?
When I say they, I don't know who called the tow truck, whoever called the tow truck to come and tow the Baker's Inn truck. I don't know whether it was Baker's Inn themselves, whether it was the police, or whether it was a fire brigade, because those were the 3 people that were in the ambulance. Those were the 4 people that were on the ground dealing with this. So when I say they, I literally do not know who will take ownership for actually pulling the truck without proper checking a lot of things.
Then has Bakersin said anything in terms of renovating and placing everything in order just like as it was before?
Yeah, there's commitment from their end to say, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to fix the house. So we had a structural engineer come in on Saturday, and he actually assessed what actually needs to be done, because he needed to check the structure. And yeah, you know how I don't know how they work. I'm a structural engineer, but I'm sure they would, like proper, because I'm a layman. I'm not too well versed with this, but I know that there's certain things that he will see that I will not, in terms of the load bearing weight, which wall is what happens to what, does the crack affect what in the long term? Because obviously whatever they do, they have to know to long term will it sustain the building as well, and work. Very much concerned about welfare.
Okay. The crime rate is high, stock theft and all that. We noted that Bakersin has put their own security. I'm satisfied with the way that they're trying to bridge the level of insecurity.
Yeah, we have 24-hour security. During the day we have one security guard, and then at night we have two, and I think they come with a dog. Yeah. And then also, so what had happened until Bakersin then closed off this with plastic sheeting, but then we realized it's still not safe, so we then, because we're in eventing, fortunately enough, so we have barricades, so we actually put this barricading and then covered with the plastic that we got from Bakersin. Yeah, to also give breathing space and whatnot, so that even when the security guards are patrolling, they can patrol even better. The main issue really that we have, that I'm sure we're here to speak about with Bakersin, is what then happens to Abadala, because Mama Luaba, they're 83 years old, so you can imagine Abantu Abadala, and they're visibly shaken. Ugogo actually takes BP medication, so she hasn't been able to sleep. So I think probably counseling is what's needed for her to actually, be counseled back into what we would call her normal self. Yeah, because really right now she was saying she's having a tough time sleeping. And also now, because the bathroom has been affected, it actually then now means that they have to use the old bathroom. Lucky enough we didn't destroy it, but during the night unfortunately she has to use a bucket for anything that needs to happen during the night. So there's a bit of inconvenience that has come with this really, and it's very sad that it's Abadala who are suffering it. It was this window, Auntie, was the old window from the old house. So we kept it for sentimental reasons. So we just changed the pane to fit the bathroom standard. And so so this is the piece actually of the old house that we kept for sentimental reasons.
I'm also noting that the wall is made of concrete, that part of the wall which was destroyed.
Yeah. Here in Yichoiwuti is actually part of the old house. It's actually part of the old house that we saved. It's the little corner that was left of the old house that we had. So it's just a piece of the old house that we'd kept for sentimental reasons. But then as it turns out now, it's actually what has saved lives and the structure essentially. Because had it not been here, if it was just your normal bricks and mortar, we could actually be talking of another story. Because which means you could have literally gone right through, and there's another bedroom there, so really we could have been talking about something else. So yeah.
Lapha sihlangana lo mama umanyathi ohlala lapha. Mama lingasitshela ngamafitshane nje ukuthi kwahamba njani ukuze ngibone ukuthi lapha somngeni emotweni.
Sasesilele kwakungama 212. Sezwa ngomdumo kuphela. Umdumo lwana wasethusa sethuka bathi mina ngala ndokhe ngisengutsheni. Wase usithi ujaha uStafford uyoweqayo washwa ekitchen. Wamemeza yena wayecabanga ukuthi ngabantu abazosigqekezela mhlawumbe. Wamemeza ukuthi singalinceda ngani. abantu labana sezwa selescreama ukuthi sicela libize i-ambulance, sicela libize i-ambulance. Ngaleso sikhathi ke uStafford wasesithi wagijima wabuya kimi wazombiza mina ngasengisuka ngisiyamvusa mama oqala wale lokhe ethule kamphendula ngabuyela ngibone enganilandile mama vuka uzobona sekonakele. Ngikubuya kwakhe kumama la wafika wathwala uza kwahlala phansi.